David Hooper here with another episode of Music Business Radio, the behind the scenes podcast. If you haven't heard the real Music Business Radio, the best way to do that is to check it out online at musicbusinessradio.com. We've got about 170 episodes online right now. So you can check that out. Everybody from Jonathan Cain of Journey to the guests that I'm going to talk about today. I just did an interview with them. Two guests, actually, two independent artists, and this is really exciting to me. We've had some really great kind of nuts and bolts shows lately, and today's was no exception. Jessica Campbell and Ernie Halter were in the studio today. You might not know those names. You've probably heard the music, though, especially if you listen to the music on shows like CW's Heart of Dixie, ABC's Ugly Betty, CMT's Melissa and Ty, The Real World, General Hospital, Army Wives, Jimmy Kimmel Live, Good Morning America, and of course, what licensing list would be complete without Keeping Up with the Kardashians, a huge show for E! These guys have been everywhere as far as licensing, and Jessica actually recently had some success too. USA Today featured her song. They have a playlist they release every week, and it's 10 songs they think you should know about. She had a song in there called Gone, and she actually performed that live in the Music Business Radio studios. That was fantastic. Ernie did something really cool, and we talked about that as well, which is a Kickstarter campaign. He raised more than $35,000, and that was something he called the 52 Song Club. You know, I talk about fan clubs in my book, Six Figure Musician, which, by the way, that book is free at musicianbook.com if you don't already have a copy of that. And fan clubs are a great way to keep in touch with fans. It's a great way to make people feel special. And Ernie combined that with some crowdfunding skills, I guess you'd say, to do $35,000 in, with a couple weeks or so. The deal is this: you get a song per week for 52 weeks. We went really in depth into that, about how he did that, and I think it's a great way not only just to make the money. Certainly $35,000, if you had that in your pocket right now, you'd be pretty happy with yourself, right? But it's a great way to a couple of things. One, to keep in touch with fans every week, because fans are expecting an email. You got to have an excuse to contact your fans sometimes, right? Think about that. Well, what do I write about? I don't want to just pitch the album. Well, he has an excuse every week now. Hey, here's your new song. So you've got that. You also have a way to test 52 songs, and that way when you do your next album, you're going to know which ones are the most popular, which ones get the best feedback. You can take changes if you want to, being open to criticism if you want that. So that's really exciting. But I think probably the best thing is it's forcing him to go into the studio every week, and come out with something new. And if you want to do something and have some accountability for it, certainly taking money for it and announcing it publicly is the way to do that. We talked about that a lot, about how to have a successful Kickstarter fan campaign. And I was talking to him, just really about the importance of following through on that, because you'll agitate a lot of people. And he brought up the comment that not only are you agitating people when you don't follow through on Kickstarter, you're agitating and really pissing off, beyond agitation, ripping off your biggest fans, and you're not going to get those fans back. So we had some really great information about Kickstarter if you're interested in that. He had an album called Franklin, Vermont. It debuted at number 2 on the iTunes singer-songwriter chart. We also talked about this, and this is kind of a wild story. We'll go into depth on it on the full Music Business Radio episode. You can check all these episodes again online at musicbusinessradio.com. Justin Bieber heard the track. He was doing a gig right outside Los Angeles, or a couple hours away from Los Angeles. Hell, that probably is right outside. You've been out there. If you have, you know what kind of traffic they have. So was doing that. Bieber had just flown in, I think, from Hong Kong or from somewhere in Asia, and was dating Selena Gomez at the time. She is also a fan of Ernie Halter, and he told the story of them driving down. So that's like a major music business paparazzi power couple, and they both knew all the songs, and Bieber actually got on stage and sang the song with Ernie. So that's a pretty cool thing. It's a cool video moment, and release got out there. It got a lot of hits. Ernie has shared the bill with Sarah Bareilles. We've had her on the show before. Lady Antebellum. We've had their people on the show before. Katy Perry, Neil Young, Sister Hazel. We talk about that. We talk about going on tour. We talk about saving money on the road. We talk about film and TV licensing. This, again, was a nuts and bolts show. So Gary, our producer, Gary Crane, really kind of stuck it to these guys. Said, hey, why don't you share the names of the film and TV music people that you're working with? And they did. Why don't you share the names of the publicists that you're working with? And they did, because that's how that USA Today thing happened. Those things don't just happen. So many musicians just kind of wait around for something to happen. And these were two that are actually on the road all the time doing a lot of gigs, a lot of house concerts. We talked about that. Very specific information on house concerts. I know that Jessica has done over 100 of them. We had some funny stories about house concerts that were shared. We talked about networking in the music business on this episode, and that's actually kind of a cool story because, strangely enough, when I called Jessica for the pre-interview, I asked her if she knew our producer, because Gary Crane, he was the one who was setting this thing up, and sometimes, we all know each other in the business, or so it seems, and she says, yeah, and I met you at the same time I met Gary. And this was really interesting because we had actually met backstage at the Opry. We were doing something for, I think it was the 50th anniversary of Rounder Records, and I was back there taping some interviews. Bela Fleck was back there and some of the other Rounder artists. So we were back there and had some kind of issue with our recording equipment. I don't know if it was a cable or a battery. I don't remember specifically, but Jessica was back there doing some work for another company here in Nashville. This is before she went full-time, and this was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And that's how we met her. We remembered her, and I completely remembered the experience because basically what had happened is our equipment had failed, and we would have never gotten these really great interviews had it not been for her. So we talked about her networking tips, and she had some other ones to share as well. We talked about going from part-time to full-time as an independent musician. That was great. I mean, a lot of times people think that this stuff just happens, but it does not. And each of those guys, both Jessica and Ernie, had some pretty funny stories about working jobs and what it was like. And this is a really inspiring show to me. Ernie's got 3 kids. We talked about that. A lot of people, they write me, they say, David, that would be great if I were still 20, but I'm married now. I've got a mortgage. I've got kids. How can I do music full time? Well, we're going to show you on this episode. The episode, it's going to be listed under Jessica Campbell and Ernie Halter. I just got out of the studio with these guys, so it's still being edited as I'm recording this. But by the time you listen to this, it may be up there. It may be available for you to listen. Go to musicbusinessradio.com. That's the best way to get this stuff on demand. Like I said, there's dozens, almost 200 episodes up there right now. And we've got some really good ones, a lot of them like nuts and bolts. You can search by category. But for this one, Jessica Campbell and Ernie Halter. A lot of great stuff about film and TV music licensing, how you get these opening acts, and what happens when Justin Bieber shows up at your gig. Do you let him on stage or not? Well, we get the story for this one. But some really, really great guys and some really incredible people. And the show notes and everything are available at musicbusinessradio.com. If you don't want to wait for the full episodes to be online, we're on every Sunday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, at lightning100.com. If you're really anxious about this, that's where to find it first. Otherwise, I'll have it on the website at musicbusinessradio.com soon. And if you're listening to this a few months from when I'm recording it, or a couple weeks maybe, the episode might be there now. So check it out online, musicbusinessradio.com. Thank you for listening. I will talk to you soon when I'm back in the studio. Got some great episodes coming up. More major label artists, more independent artists. Got a guy who's starting a record label for Yamaha coming in this week, and I'll be back to tell you more about that here in a few days. Have a great one, and I'll see you online at musicbusinessradio.com.